Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of Subway Builder, where we are continuing to build our beautiful New York transportation company. Last episode, guys, I did a thing and I first started utilizing the quad station setup, which has allowed me to crisscross multiple lines without those two lines interacting one another, which is looking now absolutely beautiful. I also replicated this as well all the way over here with the red line and the yellow line extension. And they pretty much merge before separating again to go in their different directions. Now, really appreciate all you guys leaving me these suggestions, these improvements, these comments. Absolutely love it, guys. It's giving me really good inspiration to what I can do next. But there's a few comments thinking and saying pretty much for me to start thinking about going this way, if that makes sense. Because we have a lot of long connections, which they've got to go some distance before they can transfer to get to another line. And some people made a suggestion about doing my east and west lines in a circular loop. Now, I think we might need some type of a central circular loop that we can extend off it with more straight lines here and there. And I thought that would be a great addition. Now, I did want to focus on what I was initially starting to build here. We're going to have like a line that merges over to all of them. And we will still do that, but I think we can incorporate that with a circular loop line. And I think that would be pretty beautiful. So, this is where I take everything that I've learned to this point, pull it into practice to realize I know nothing, as I'm now about to build my first inner city circular loop. Now, this will be a small one, and what I'm going to try and get it to do is to touch a little bit of New Jersey, a little bit of Brooklyn and Queens, but mainly circling in the center area here. And we're going to try and set up two routes, one going clockwise, one going anti-clockwise, and it's going to alleviate a lot of pressures. At least that is what we're hoping it's going to do. So I think then we initially have to pick where we're going to run this. And if I kind of look here, I've got a couple of options. Okay, now doing this circular loop is going to allow us to get people from one line to another a lot easier. So if you're here and you want to, for example, get down to like there, right now you got to go down, down, down. Whereas if the loop works how I intended it to, you could kind of go round, straight down, never have to change a train, stay on the same train. It could work in fashion. So where are we going to pick them? We've got probably two options, I reckon. Actually, probably three. Going down there, there, or there. I think doing it in the middle of them three is probably the best bet. So we'll go from the 24th Street all the way down. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to work. Now, I'm going to assume these are all -5. So I'm going to do, because we've got to go upwards, we're not following any roads in that regards, we'll start with a -14. Now, is there anywhere on these stops that warrant me having a quad station setup? I don't think there is. So I'm going to keep it as it is. So let's go to build mode. Let's go to builder stations and let's bring this down to a -14. And am I picking a certain road, or because I'm -14, I don't think it ultimately matters. Let me go minimum depth. So nothing really in the way. If I follow this road here, I think we can get away with it. Right, boys. If you're enjoying the series, smash that like button down below. Would really appreciate it right now. But we are now about to start building our circular loop. Now, would we need quad stations for a circular line? Because they're only going to stay on one side of the platform, I don't think we do. I don't think we ultimately do. Unless we're going to have other trains run through. Oh, okay, right. That's now making me feel like I'm probably going to want quad stations. How about I implement the quad station and then, you know, I've got it in. How much does that cost me for the quad? Oh, it's a lot more money, isn't it? Do you know what? It is a lot more money. Am I going to need it at this moment in time? I don't think so. I'm sure we can always come back and redo it if needs be. So I think we'll stick with parallel. I think we'll stick with parallel for now. So moving up. The next one's going to be here. Glorious. Now, these stops are quite close by, but They're important because they're crisscrossing a bunch of lines. Right, there we go. Those 4 stations are now in. That's going to alleviate a lot of pressures, by the way. It really is. So that's where we're going to get to run there. And I'm going to quickly build the tracks. While I'm here right now, we're going to build the tracks. Now, it is a lot lower, but it is needed. Right, there to there. So they're now all in. Them ones. So it's going to come down. And obviously, we're going to have a line that runs like this way, and it's going to join that line. So it will cross the blue line there and then come up and then turn to go back up again. And what I'll do is I'll treat it as if they continue to extend, and then I'll build the turn for us moving forward, and then same for that way as well. So where here then do I want it? I mean, I could utilize it where the pink line currently is right now and go up, up, and up. Because that's kind of like split in between, which I think will work out for us. And is the -14 going to work? I think so. So I'll put that station... Oh, that's not a station. That's actual line. So I'll put that station just there. And then we'll go down to this station here. I'm trying to create a little bit of space between them. I know they're fairly close together. I'm very, very well aware of that. And then this one... like you there. Right, they run there. So let me now just get... So the cost of this right now is 1.3 billion. Let me go fast forward mode. Because we're going to need to get all this built in. And I'm keeping it super low just so it's like out the way. I could have reduced costs by going maybe -10. But because we're going through some of the buildings, it's just best to keep it super low. And then it's not going to cause me any problems, any issues. Now, running this way, we will probably do the -5. We can probably get away with it. We'll see. But those 2 little runs there are the east to west points, center points of my circular loop lines, which is going to be real interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be real interesting. Now, we've got to figure out, I reckon, as this comes down there, we have a station that continues, but the station in between needs to be the quad that allows us to switch onto that line. A quad station there to switch onto that line. That can be a normal one. That's completely fine. So how much money am I going to need right now? It's going to be 1.56 billion. Okay, understandable because of the depths we're working with. Understandable. So how much money are we now making like a day? Like how much profit, I should say. So the operational profit at this point is 850 million. So in reality, it's now not going to take me that long to start building these larger mega projects because of the type of funds that are rolling into our bank account. It's just, the only thing that's going to take me a long time to do is if I keep building at this depth, that's when it becomes a little bit expensive. I could probably get away with a -10, but I know some of those buildings need that minimum depth of -14. So it just slightly covers our backs. So while we wait then, it gives us a good time right now to take out the stats. So 8.4% of people in New York are using our transit. Now with this circular loop that I'm about to build, how much is this going to change things? I feel like this could do glorious stuff for us in terms of moving people. We're also going to reach a large part of New Jersey, kind of, which is going to be amazing. It really is going to be amazing, this is. So let's see then. Let's see. So 80% there, not too bad. And let me check out the route ridership. So the yellow line is the most used. Again, I wonder how this is all going to change when we add our circular lines in. It's going to be interesting. That's all I can say. It's going to be interesting. So we need... Oh, we've actually got enough right now so we can kind of implement those blueprints. Bam. They are now all in. Glorious. We have now committed to the build, boys. Oh, we had a warning there for a second. I'm going to kind of ignore those warnings for just a minute because the circle lines could alleviate all the pressures. So let's work then with New Jersey, okay? Let's build the line, or start to build the line. It's going to kind of cut across to where we then incorporate the loop attaching to it. So we're going to utilize, let's build the stations, and let's do this to a -5 because not everything needs to be so low. So kind of continuing And we're going to do it on this junction here. So I'm kind of building this based on nothing but... Oh, actually, do I do a quad? No, I think my next station needs to be a quad. Or do I do this whole system quads? I might do this whole system quads because it's going to share a different line. So that makes a lot more sense. So looking at this right now, based off of you, we're going to drop it right there. Right. Oh, he's committed to the quad station. So that in itself is 112 million. Okay, that in itself is 112 million. So that goes there, and then we've got to figure out how we're doing the bend. Now, I don't think we should incorporate said station on where it, like, where that runs to continue, because this is like a bendy route. I don't think that is the answer. So if that ran up to there, you're looking there. So the next stop should be... Right, let me spin this right round because it's easier to view it on this angle than anything else. So we're looking like another stop is going to go about here. Now, I haven't checked out any of the route demands or riderships in this area. This is not quad. So, oh, okay, right. I think the quad station is a little bit too chunky for us at this point. It's a little bit too chunky, so we might need to go a little bit further down. So let me check the minimum depths. And let me reduce this maybe to a 10. No, we're going to have to go for the 14, which I'm not now that happy with. Let me undo this. So what I'll do here is I'll do this to be a 10. Which that is just there. I'll do this one to be a 10 solely because of the depth for the next one needs to be a 14. It doesn't need to go down that deep. So that's a shame, really. That is a shame because this is now going to make me spend even more money. So if I go there with you, because I want to get them all in order because it just helps you create the narrative of this grid format. And then we're going to be implementing one here. So I've got 3 in. And then the next... Oh, no, I can still do one more. I can still... So this next one now is where it all changes and it all bends. So if I just do it like that. And then the next one is non-existent because that's where the junction is that I'm going to implement. Right, exciting. So let's do the same thing going this way then. So how much have I got? I've got 800 million. So at some point, this is going to become expensive. Now, I didn't incorporate a station there for the green line. Now, why didn't I do that? Is it because that was being it? Because that's in line with that one. I'm not sure why I didn't implement one. I'm not too sure. Right, let's just see over here then. Now, is this road wide enough I can go back to a -10? I think so, is the answer. I think so. So, going based off this, I'll incorporate you there. So, it's a little bit close, so you got to be a bit careful. And then we're looking for one about here. All right, it's working. It's working, boys. And we're going to have one in the middle, which is going to be for this one there. So, fairly close by, but efficiency, okay? Everyone lives next to a subway station. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, boys. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it right now. So the blue line could continue over, and that will just cross through. But because we're doing circular lines, I need to incorporate the junction, which I think will be a little bit more handy. So let's commit then. Because this is also going to run a line going straight down, so I want to keep them separate. The circular lines will be on the outer side of the station, and then we just utilize the single lines to kind of get them all connected. So quad then, hopefully there's no issues here. This is where it now becomes super expensive again. So we're almost got close to being able to afford it. But that has now gone slightly out the window. All right, there we go. And there. So that's all them stations there. So just to build that run. Now, bearing in mind it is quad setup, okay? Which I feel like it's got more infrastructure now in place than New York itself. I don't know why, it's just got that feeling. It's 1.43 billion. But that should be, at this moment in time, the last of the big expenses as I incorporate this. Now, I think we can get away with having a subway stop around here just for picking up these people. I haven't checked the demand. I've just based it off this road. So I've kind of gone in a little bit blind here, which is a little bit silly of me. That is a little bit silly of me, if I'm being completely honest. I should have kind of checked the demand. Now, workers, luckily enough, it is mainly on that road for the workers. So I think we get away with it. We could run something a little bit closer by. But I think we've got lucky there. I think I got a little bit lucky. Right, so I need 1.4, what was it? 1.43, which we're about to now get, build the blueprints. And we have now committed to that. Right, okay. With that now said and done, we can now go back to normal. So I know my next stop after this, because we're going to ignore this one here, and we're going to incorporate the next stop here. We can now go back to doing singular build stations, parallel, at -5. So this would kind of go about there. Right? And then we can just do the normal line coming down, connects into there for the line that continues. But for us here, we need to go back to a -14 because we're going to be underneath buildings there. So that to there. And see if I can just pull that across like this. And then them two parallels merge into a quad, which is there. Ooh, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if I build my tracks and we stick to the parallel, and I need to make this eventually meet a 5. So the sooner I can make it reach the gradient of the 5, the better for us on the bend. Now I can't do that, so I've got to initially bend it out like this. And that's where that's going to extend. I won't do anything further. It's just a placeholder there for now. Now, I need to make this, which is a -10, drop down to a -14. So I reckon we go for this to be a -14 coming through just to there. And it gives me a wide enough bend to play with. So if I go singular and we bring you out, and to be honest with you, we could have made all this kind of continue to be quad, but it's nice to have it all separate. Right, if I go there to there with you. Now, in theory, we should have the ability just to bend this in. And for this, like that. See, once you get the elevation just right, there is no issues. Ta-da! Okay. And then back to parallel. So we'll go from there, then to there. So that's put me in inefficient funds now, where I can't afford that, but that's fine. But you can now see how the loop line is going to work. Now, is there a world in which we continue to go straight on? I don't think so on the loop line. I think that's what the blue line continues to go up, and then we'll have like another line that goes that way, that crosses that. So the circle line acts a little bit different to lines that continue. You know what I mean? It's to kind of reduce the amount of stuff you do, and you can kind of then, you know, get people to different areas. Now, this is only a small variant of this. We'll have like a bigger outer loop, which I think will work really great. So the cost of this is 634 million, which I can now build because we've got enough money. Boom. That's now in. Ooh. Right, and then obviously we'll have a line that runs down this way and a line that runs down there and whatnot, but we have our, loop line that's going to do a lot of connecting. Before we create, when we've built the route, and before we actually put the line on it and buy the trains and all that jazz, we'll see what the percentage of people are using vehicles is, and then, using public transport, and see how that changes. I'm excited for this. So this, again, like the other one, is going to go to a normal parallel, which I think I can go to a normal 5 now. So that is there. So this next one's a bit further down. So I reckon because of the distance, we'll put you here instead. And it's easier to build on top like that. So put you there. That's where that's going to run. So we should be able to do a set of parallel tracks from there to there. No questions asked. Right, so then I need to do the station again. So we'll then go to a -14 for this. Which the station is just there. And then continuing, we're going to drop it just around here, which we shouldn't have any problems with. Oh, what is that there? How did you get there? Right, delete. I think I might have misclicked that and put that in somehow. I'm not too sure. That's going to run down this way. And then we got to do the same system here. So we need to build tracks. Got to go to a -14. So we'll put that to about just there. Now, the difference is we had the park to work with the bend, so there was no buildings in the way. So we're initially going to have these parallels, these singles. And it shouldn't be an issue in reality. It should not be an issue. If I got you there, and then I got you there, because it's all at a -14. Right, the height differential is not there yet. I don't think I dropped this track down enough. So build tracks, parallel, and it needs to be a -5. So it's got to be a -5 there. Oh, hello, wrong button. It's got to be a -5 there. So then, if I decrease the elevation and go single, this should then now bend. Because I did it such a long track, the gradient could have been over here, where it's able to pass under. So do it shorter, it reduces, it makes the gradient a lot sharper, but gets us to kind of underpass a lot sooner, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Right, there we go. That's then all in place. So the cost of this build right now is getting up there. Now I've got to build the track going all the way across right now. So if I build tracks parallel. Now, I wonder if I go by a -10, if I can save a few pennies. Or would anybody complain? No, no one's going to complain. I could probably save a few pennies like that. Yeah, that would have saved me a few pennies. Right, this one side of our loop system is now in place. Right, this is exciting. This is super exciting right now. So I want to incorporate over here now. New Jersey was pretty easy because of the grid fashion. Yeah, Brooklyn, Queens has the grid fashion, but it's a little bit all over the place. So this will be even more interesting than before. And I don't know whether to kind of move it in a bit or do it so soon, like be the next line here. Or like I said, move it in a bit. Now, I think moving it in a bit is definitely going to cost me more money because there'll be a lot more to build. No, I'm not going to move it in a bit. I'm going to make it kind of be the first line coming down. So with that said, okay, with that said, we're going to have to maintain to the -14 pretty much on all of it. So do I do it off this station or off this station? Because we've got to come down. There'll be a stop here. There won't be a stop there. There'll be a couple of stops in the middle. I could bring it down to there. Bringing that down. Unless that stop was to be moved at some point, because that doesn't really make much sense. Unless it's because... there's a big demand there, isn't there? Oh, it's a big demand in general. So I could probably rework it and have it going through here. And then it will make its way down to the yellow stop. But for us, the circular loop here turns. Okay, that makes sense. Right, I've got it in my head. Okay, boys, I've got it in my head. So down to a -14. Let's get right in here. And let's build that just there. The quad station. There we go. Okay, we're gonna Dutch Kilns Street. We're gonna redo that to move it to cross over here instead. But we'll do that at a later date. So sticking with the current stops, there's 3 stops leading up to this, and that in question. So we'll do one. Let me just change the angle so I can see. We'll do one then here. Bam. We've then got to do one pretty much here. Bam. We've then got to do one pretty much there. And then where we would do the next one, we don't, because that's where the turn's going to be implemented. So by that logic, we can then go back to a parallel and then go to a -5. And then that's going to run. Now, where does it make sense for us on the demand? Okay, it's definitely got to cross over that. Oh, there's not really much going on for workers, which is okay. So that gives me a little bit more freedom then. So build stations, -5. So we'll run on this, but I'm going to pull it just there. And that coming through there, around here is the junction in place. So if that's to there, this has got to be, I can make this a -10 if we get it to run in space. So having a stop here is probably important. What about workers? Yes. So building the stop there then is the way to go. So build the station. We'll do -10. Again, trying to save a few pennies because we do have the ability to do that. And that should work. Oh, right, I think this is going to work. I'm not very confident, am I? So that's going to kind of bend down and go in, and then that's going to do a turn there. To come down, and I'm going to incorporate the turns here. So this is where it now gets even more difficult. So that was the easy bit, believe it or not. So if that's running through there, we're going to have some awkward stops here, but that's coming down. So that's going to run down here. Right. Okay. If that's there, I think we might have to kind of make this up almost. So we'll definitely need a stop here. And just checking the demand. So workers, you want to be a bit further up, don't you? So let me go build and go undo that and pull it there instead. On quad. Quad, please. There we go. And then the demand, we should pin this, by the way. We should be pinning this. So it's all residential that we're now looking at. That's what we're now looking at. So next, so that's for that one. We do have one here. So if that's coming here, so we're going to do a, you could almost, you know what? I don't like this. I'm going to undo. Because in reality, it would be nice to have a stop here. stop coming down this way. Yes, they're fairly close by. But I think it's heavily needed. And if I did a stop there, so just bear with me on a second. I don't think I needed these to be so deep down because of the space we've got. So undo, I can definitely save some money by doing, what, a -5 we reckon we can get away with? I reckon we could. If I did it like this. Okay, maybe not. There's build. Okay, definitely do a -5 here. This one may be a -10. Unless I make this one be a -10. I'm hoping there is... Right, no, we'll do this one a -14 then. And for that logic, I can kind of do it slightly diagonal. Alright. And we'll go for a -5 here. It saves money. Is what it does. It saves money. Alright, put you there. Right, that's pretty good. And then, where is... Oh, snap, hold on. No, sorry. That there is where the turn needs to be. So... But it's also got to lead on down to here. Unless I did one more stop that way is probably the better option. So I can go back to normal parallel here. And then we just delete this station. Because that's how it's going to work. And then that will turn. Okay, I haven't got to do no more than that. So build tracks. Let me just build the quad first. And let me just kind of initially pull it out at -14. So it wants to go around like this, but we'll slightly wiggle it. This to there. There's going to be at least one building. It's going to... No, it's not. Actually, that's pretty good. This to there. You're to there. You're to there. And then we do the parallel. We do the parallel coming out, but as soon as I can, I need to drop it. I wonder if I can do it here. Because I need to drop it to a 5 as soon as possible. So let me just come off this one. Oh, hello. Historic day. First trains roll through New York. Wait, when? What? Get out of here, fool. I don't know what you're talking about. Right, we're going to have to do a slight wiggle on that set of track. So that's down to 5 now, which it could work there. It's just now dependent on if I can reduce this down to a -14 the way that I want it to. No, so we're going to have to undo slightly. And if I went there instead... Right, it works there. I'm just going to hope. Oh, no, undo. Undo. Right. Let me do up to a 10. To a 10 there. And then we'll do the -14. Right, so that's going to be a bit of a tricky one there. As long as I know that, we should be okay. We should be okay. So, is there a world in which there's a station here? Of course there is. Of course there is. And that is a 5. So I'm going to make this a 10 parallel station for the elevation change. No, I'm going to make it a 14. No, 10. 10. No, 14. Give me enough room for maneuver. So I'll do a station there. And then I've got to incorporate this. So this all stays at a 5. And this is train track, by the way. Right, like that. And that's all of 5. So I've got to make this drop down to a 14. So if I bring this to a 14, we single parallel it. That works there, there, and then that should run into there. That should run into there. No problemo. Okay, that worked. I'm just not that confident on this one. This is going to be my big downfall issue now. So if I ran this here and then got you to bend, which is just not going to work. So running this parallel down. So I'm hoping something around there will allow me to do my single connection, which it's not going to. So I'm going to run a little bit further. Okay, it works there. Right, I think we're all now good, right? Like that. Yeah, I think we're now all good. All right, that will do. Bit funky, but it will do. I'm really nervous to see how much this is going to cost, by the way. I'm really nervous. So that's now all set up. Let me now just get rid of the minimum depth, get rid of you, get rid of the demand stats. That's gonna. I've got what 2.3 million in the bank. It's going to cost me 2.41. Okay, we're actually not that far off. So I've got it where it kind of can continue to extend as if it's its own run. Like coming from north to south, but it incorporates the loop and the elevation changes that come along with it. Right, this is the most expensive infrastructure we've done to date, just purely down for the fact that we're doing minus 14s on the depth. Right, let's build those blueprints. They are now all in, looking glorious, and then we can now close the gaps. We can now close the gaps. So build, tracks, parallel. So it's got to go under there, but I'm wondering then from that point, we bring it to a -5 to save a few more pennies. All right, bringing you out to connect in like that. And then over this way, I'm hoping the same can be done here. Which it should be able to. Ta-da! And we now have our first loop, and we've set ourselves up nicely for some extension lines at the same time. How cool is that? That's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. And now I've just got to hope that it's all going to work. So, let's get this set up then. Let's get this set up. So let's do a new route. And what I'll do... Oh, we got the blue route there, didn't I? I forgot we got that one there. Do you know what? We'll use that. And we'll give it a name. So, we're going to call it inner... No, we're going to call it the... We're going to call it the City Loop 1. Yeah? I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. City Loop 1. And entered. Right. For some reason, my game has now completely froze. Or is that just me? No. I think I accidentally paused the game. I think I might have accidentally paused the game. Right. City Loop 1. I don't know what... Guys, let me know in the comment section. What do you think a good name is for these loops? Inner city... What do they... Circular? Inner city... I'm going to call it the inner city circle line. The ICC line, inner city circle. Inner city ICC line. Inner city clockwise. Inner city clockwise line. Right? And then I could do another new one, which I can make it slightly off. Inner city clockwise line. Inner city anti. Inner city anti line. Yeah? You guys feeling me on those lines? Those names? I'm not sold on them. Now, what will be hilarious if I do the clockwise line, not clockwise. So, which side of the tracks do they also run on? Let me discard changes. So they're running on the right side for me, at least anyway. They're running on the right side. So the clockwise line, edit the routes, and we go there. We go there. Now this is going to take some doing, by the way, because there's going to be a lot of stations that I now need to add. And I'm hoping, if this works first time, you all have to agree I'm a genius. Well, no, not quite a genius, but I'm slightly getting better at the game. Right. But I like how I've set myself up, though, where there's like a line extension on the loop. And that's how we make this continually all integrated. So that's the exciting part of all of this. Right. Because you've got that middle line now that's set up for the extension in New Jersey. And that is absolutely fantastic. Right, is there any more after this one? No, we're back to normal. So, we'll confirm those changes. And then let's go back. And then we get the inner city anti-line. Right, that's just my name suggestions for it. Edit the route. And then we make this one go the other way. And they're the same color, but the slightly different hue. Just so we know what they're doing. Now, because they do the exact same route, just in different directions, do we think one's going to be heavily used more than the other? Now, that's an interesting theory, isn't it? It all depends on where the stations go to next, where they're coming from, and what lines are connecting. You know what I mean? But then it works the opposite way as well. So it's an interesting one. I'm not happy with this blue line here. Like I said earlier, we're going to have to kind of readjust that. But this is interesting. Right, we're on the way back in right now. We're on the way back in. We are getting there. Boom. Boom. And I think that was the last one, right? Yes. So confirm that. And now I need to buy trains for them. I'm very well aware that I'm probably not going to have enough trains for these lines. But my loop system is borderline there. Now, this is really exciting, okay? This is going to be really exciting right now. So let's go into play mode. Okay. And then we'll go for the clockwise line first. So trains. We're first going to buy a bunch of trains. So let's buy $100 million worth of trains. No, let's buy 125 million. There we go. We'll do the train set at 10, like in length. How many cars are on there, basically? So it's 2,400. We'll do low demand 1. Because you got to remember, it's like having... It's 2 lines on 1. 2, 4. That's what we'll do. 1, 2, 4. So, put it on 10. 1, 2. Need to buy some more. 4. Okay. Now, because they're slightly the same color, it looks like they're the same line from a distance. But it's not. So we had, it was 8 point, the route ridership was 8.8 at best. We've instantly got it to 9.4. Now, just doing that in general is going to take a lot of pressures off, but there is going to be issues on some of these lines, like the pink capacity's at, the pink line's at capacity, the green line was just for a second there at capacity. So, yes, it's all over the place. It's all over the place right now. So give it some time to settle, but this is going to make obviously some areas be overwhelmed than usual, and I think that pink line is feeling it quite dramatically. Now, is that near capacity on a lot of these? So this is, what is the time right now? It's 2:26 p.m., which falls under medium demand. So we'll move that to 8, so just to increase the frequency by having an additional train. So maybe that additional train is enough to do something about it. I probably don't think it's going to be. We're now at capacity for the high demand. So let me just buy a bunch of trains. Let's get 50 more kind of there. So we'll put that to 16. So I understand the pink line because it is super long. Okay, it is super long. So I might add an extra 2 there, add an extra 2 there. And the issue is, it's down to the fact that it's not a case of it gets overwhelmed because it's so busy. It's like if a train from here stops there and unloads a full train, the next train coming along is going to be overloaded. Then the next 4 trains, there'll be nothing. So it's a bit of a weird one. But I get it. It just shows us we need more crissy-crossy lines here, there, and everywhere. But I've increased the amount of trains anyway. So just based on that, the demand status, we've added nearly an extra 2. We're not far off. No, about 1.5%. I'm hoping we're going to get closer to 2% as time ticks along in just that loop line itself, because we do reach new areas. Now, the yellow line's feeling the pressures. Trains. So we should now, it's 9. Is that 9:16, which falls into, is it high demand? Or is it low demand? So 9:16 falls into medium demand. Of course it does. Right, just increasing the rate. Just a little bit of fine tuning here and there. But yeah, the more you see them turning blue, these circles, the more we're serving them. We want them to be less red, okay? We don't mind if they can walk, because how are you going to defeat that? How are you going to beat a walk, right? You know what I mean? If they just got to walk to the next block, you don't need to use the subway, okay? You don't need to use it. I would let that off. But the less red we can make it and the more blue we can make it, we know we're serving more people. Like, for example, this is heavily green here. And it's green because they want to walk to there. How am I going to do a subway route there? That makes no sense. You know what I mean? But then the other one is to there. You could argue we could have done a subway line there if it was going like that way. But, you know, if they can walk it, it's fine. This one, okay. It's a bit awkward. That's like 3 stops they've got to do. But it's not the end of the world. At least they don't drive it. And that's the main concern anyway. They're not driving it. So it's the early mornings right now, so there's been no issues. As rush hour picks back up again, this is where we should start to see the issues jumping back in. But I'm not going to check the route ridership just yet. I want it to be a little bit of a surprise on what's being used the most. So the pink line is struggling again. It's only because that one train hits it instantly and it overloads everything. It's not a case of we need more, but having more is always a good option. Okay, the circle lines are now feeling the pressure. So we'll add let's see, train. So this is to do with the high demand, by the way. So we'll add 1, 2. Let me buy a bunch more now. Let me buy 100 heavy metro. Yeah, we've got the funds for that. So it was 4. I'm going to put it to 8, 3, and keep it on 1. We'll do 8, 3, and keep it on 1. The yellow line, 12, like that. Let's see how we get on with that. And then what changes? So there's a lot of trains now moving around, by the way. Again, we can improve efficiency by making other lines extend and go in different places, but also really checking where everybody, ultimately wants to go. It's a shame I can't add more than 10. So I can increase the frequency just a little bit there. I'm going to buy more trains. But adding more trains is not the issue half the time. It's understanding where people want to go and creating lines on that. The fact that we're overloading stations so much is a big problem. That is a real big problem. Just watching these trains on this. Because one full train unloads onto another full train, which is what's causing the overloadings. But I think as we're now coming out of rush hour, it's not too bad. It's just now understanding everything all out. So I don't think we need to add any more trains just yet. It's just about creating more efficient lines to take away the burdens. Right, so station ridership then. We can now see where we're seeing the most of all of this happen. Now, because a lot of it is being switched over here on this blue and green line, we can now start thinking about the extensions to the circle line would be great. And rejigging that station onto the circle line there. So it creates for a more smoother transition. That would be great. But then incorporating that other line that I was going to build creates more crossovers because it's so busy in this vicinity. That's the problem. It's so busy in this vicinity. I feel like we might need to incorporate a diagonal route coming through it, which could be a huge improvement. But the transfers happen here. So you can see where the transfers are. And then that's where we can then decide what's going on here, guys. We can kind of switch it out a little bit. But mainly down here, that's because it's the first stop for the yellow line on the pink line. I mean, they could go up to there, but it's where the yellow line runs. So we know where the issues are and where they lie. We can just kind of make them a little bit more efficient. So, shall we check the route ridership? Oh, those circular lines right now. Is this rush hour? 3? No, it's not. So, add a 4th one. Add a 4th one, just to increase the rate. And what is the route ridership now saying? So, the circular lines, right? Now, this is what you've got to remember. You could argue that you got to combine those two lines because they run the same directions as different directions. So by that logic, it makes them pretty much in contention for the red line in 4th place, potentially pushing. Actually, no, it makes them in contention for 3rd place with the green line. So that's interesting. That'll make it 160. Yeah, it puts it in 3rd place almost, those two together. But it doesn't really work like that. They're their own separate lines at the same time. But it's nice. It's interesting to see that one of them is 20,000 more than the other one. That's interesting, isn't it? I take it that's the difference between residents going to work versus workers going home. So it depends on the time of day. But it does give me there the ability to rejig the blue line. I think the blue line can now be rejigged. And I think there's like another diagonal line we can also squeeze in to alleviate a lot of these pressures. But if anything, it's brought more people to the yellow line because now more people can get into the busyness that is Manhattan. Unless I run another line coming through here to take some pressures off. But it is what it is, boys. It's quite exciting. So I think we'll leave it there. My first circular line is now in, with the room for extensions and expansions moving forward, which is always a great addition. If you did enjoy this, please smash the like button down below, subscribe if you are new in here so you get notified when more episodes do come out. But until next time, I'll see you all soon, so goodbye.